podcast has been approved by OutCastedOC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everybody, it's Courtney here from the OutCastedOC podcast and welcome to my Monday Night Raw recap. Now this is the Monday Night Raw before Night of Champions, so let's get into it. I have my notes. I've just finished watching Raw. I've kept my notes as short as I possibly can, and that is just so that I can try and keep this video as short as I can. I'll talk as much as I can about things that have happened, but as you all know, when I do the reviews, I don't really talk about the matches. I kind of just talk about a few things that may have happened and then the outcome of the match. So if you want to see what happened, you make sure you go and see the full match. Before we start, I just want us to take a moment to appreciate my shirt. I got it from the WWE shop. It's from the iconic King of the Ring Austin 316's promo. I mean, I saw this shirt and I knew I had to buy it straight away. Anyway, I am getting sidetracked. Let's start talking about Monday Night Raw. So we started off this week with Cody Rhodes coming into the arena from his bus backstage. You can kind of see he's got his suitcase. He looks like he's kind of just arrived. He then ends up getting attacked by Brock Lesnar, so there's a bit of a brawl backstage, but mostly Brock is doing the attacking onto Cody. Cody is kind of very defenseless when it comes to this. Then Brock Lesnar ends up hitting him with a beer keg in his arm and pretty much is just asking him, do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? Now, in my mind, this kind of feels like it's setting up a fight pit match. I feel like Brock wouldn't be continually asking, do you want to fight? Do you want to fight? As a promo style, if it wasn't some form of idea as to that's what they want to do. But anyway, I digress. Then we end up seeing that Paul Heyman is in the ring. Now keep in mind, Paul Heyman is not a part of Monday Night Raw. He is in fact on SmackDown with the Bloodline. So very confusing as to why he's been invited back. So he references the attack that's just happened on from Brock Lesnar onto Cody Rhodes, and he says that he had nothing to do with that, which I don't really believe him. And he said that it is an example of what Cody Rhodes has in store for him with Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions. And he said he was invited back to Raw, and he makes a statement that at Night of Champions there will be 3 main events. So one of the main events is the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship match. Another main event is the tag team match with Roman and Solo versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then the other main event is Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Now, I can see why they're marketing it as, 3 main events. You've got 3 matches that could be considered main events. But I personally feel, though, it takes away from what the main event actually is. If you're marketing 3 matches as main event quality, pick your best out of the 3 and then market it that way. I get that it's because Brock Lesnar is coming and Roman Reigns is coming. I get that. But find the match that works the best as the main event. And you can always call some matches co-main event. One thing I forgot to mention that was said in Paul Heyman's promo is he basically just said that, Kevin and Sami Zayn are going to lose their titles to the Bloodline at Night of Champions, and the Usos are going to be at home proudly watching. Don't know if that is like a fake out for them actually being there or if that's genuinely they're going to be watching at home. But anyway, so then Kevin and Sami come out. There's a quick recap of what happened last week on SmackDown, and then Paul Heyman disappears. Sami makes a comment about it and basically is just like, I don't know where he went that quickly, but that's all good. And then Sami basically goes ahead and says that it's the biggest title defense of their career at Night of Champions and that it's very personal for him and he's got nothing more to say. He said everything to Roman that he needs to say. Kevin then decides to say that if Roman's dedicating the win at Night of Champions to the Wild Samoans, I'm going to dedicate our win to the pillars of the Bloodline, which are the Usos. I don't know if you've been watching the same SmackDown episodes that I've been watching and reviewing as well, but that couldn't be far from the truth. So I was like, all right, cool. Then Sami Zayn goes ahead and says that they've got to take care of some business tonight. Imperium comes out. Imperium tries to fake out Kevin and Sami, attempts to go in the ring, and then ends up going in the ring and gangs up on them. So they Imperium, which is Gunther, Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser, they all come and gang up on Kevin and Sami. Riddle makes the save. I kind of had a feeling this would happen. I wrote down so much for mystery contender / partner, because they were talking about how the 6-man tag is going to be with a mystery person. But this kind of gave it away that it's going to be Riddle. And as you can see by my excitement level, I wasn't really excited, but that's okay. Then we had a match between Bronson Reed and Ricochet. Now this is playing off what happened last week at the Battle Royale, how they both kind of eliminated each other. I thought this was a really good match. I think this was a really good matchup of two different people's working styles within the ring, where you've got Ricochet, who's more of a high flyer, and then you have Bronson Reed, who's more of like a powerhouse. This is a really, really good match. I found that it ran quite short, but I don't know if that was just the fact that I was really into the match or if I wanted it to be longer. But Bronson Reed ended up taking the win, which I think was a really good idea. You want to present Bronson Reed as a really, really powerful force that could potentially, you know, become United States champion or could become Intercontinental champion at some point in time. But that's okay. Then we had a video package quickly backstage of Byron Saxton trying to get a word in from Adam Pearce about an update on Cody Rhodes. Now, I will say now, this does happen a few times during the episode of Monday Night Raw. They're obviously making a really, really, really big point of his, you know, injury, how bad it is going into Night of Champions. Adam Pearce comes out and, you know, basically they're trying to allude to the fact that Cody could have a broken arm, but Adam Pearce is refusing to give any update as he doesn't have an update. Then we get a Bronson Reed video package quickly, just, you know, him promoting himself and just saying, you know, everyone's going to suffer and everyone's going to, you know who I am, which I think is quite a good way to introduce him to the crowd. I kind of feel like his crowd response has been increasing over time, but I kind of just feel like he needs to be put back on the same level that he was put on in NXT to actually become that kind of a level of threat again to be able to become a champion in WWE. Then Kathy Kelly is backstage doing a quick backstage interview with Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is trying to talk about how excited he is to be back on Raw, and then he gets interrupted by Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. Dominic's basically saying, well, Rhea's supposed to be having her interview now, and Apollo's basically like, I think she's scheduled for after me, like this is my time to talk. Then Rhea basically pops in and like says that, you know, she knows that Natty's had a legendary career, but at Night of Champions, like Natty's going to regret ever trying to get involved with Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley's going to end her career. And then, you know, Apollo tries to hop back in and be like, yo, this is my segment, this is my time, like why have you jumped in? And obviously Dominic, as a simp, decides to stand up for Mami when Mami doesn't need to be stood up for. And then they end up getting into a war of words and ends up potentially having a match later on in the evening. Then next we have the third part of the backstage promo interview segment with Corey Graves and Seth Rollins. Now this is to promote the match that's happening at Night of Champions this weekend with him and AJ Styles for the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this part kind of got left off where he was talking about, well, Corey was basically bringing up, like, why don't you like Roman? So that was the cliffhanger we got left off on last week. Now this is what Seth has to say. I'll basically kind of talk about the crux of what he said. He said, I love Roman, but I don't like Roman. See, now that's brotherhood. And he basically said that, you know, Roman's been there for him throughout all the stuff they had going on with the Shield. But as a person and as a champion, he doesn't like who he's become. He has no respect and he's taking opportunities away from others and he's selfish. And he basically just says that, you know, it's time for a change. And, you know, Corey's like, well, why do you want to be champion? It's time for a change. It's time for us to do what we do. And then he ends up hyping up AJ and, you know, talking about how AJ is a really good wrestler and he's done a lot in his career and he's really excited to wrestle AJ. And one thing I found really cool that WWE doesn't normally do is they included some indie footage of AJ, which I was like, you know, for people who don't know AJ from before WWE or those who are like casual viewers of WWE, they'll really appreciate getting to know a little bit more about AJ from these independent wrestling video packages. So I really enjoyed seeing that. I'm very excited for this match. I really like how they are putting a lot of attention and a lot of detail and a lot of effort into the storyline for this match to make it feel like this title is going to be worth more than what people have been saying. Now, I know for the longest time people have been saying that, you know, like this feels like a consolation prize. And my thought process behind it is it's only a consolation prize if you treat it as such. This so far has felt like they have put a lot of time and effort and energy into giving it the same impression and giving it the same allure and the same prestige that the previous World Heavyweight title had. So like I've always thought, you know, if you treat it with care and you treat it well, it's going to have the results and the payoff that you want at the end of the day. But if you're not thinking about what you're doing, that's when it will start to suffer. And I feel like Triple H especially understands that this title needs the prestige put back into it for people to actually not think of it as a consolation prize. So I really enjoyed this segment. I do know that it was pre-filmed, but I really enjoyed it. Then we had a backstage video segment quickly with Damian Priest and Finn Balor. This is before Finn's match with Shinsuke Nakamura. The basic premise of this promo was to say that if one member of the Judgment Day feels disrespected, then everybody in the Judgment Day has felt disrespected, and Finn has basically said that whatever is left of Shinsuke, Damian can deal with next week. Then we had a match between Zoe Stark and Candice LeRae. Now this is obviously going off of the interaction that they had last week. There was a quick video package before the match even started with Zoe Stark, kind of introducing her to the main roster crew and obviously showing a little bit of what she's about and her accomplishments within NXT first. The winner of the match was Zoe Stark. I kind of didn't really... I enjoyed the match, but I didn't feel like it needed to be there. I understand putting Zoe Stark on the main roster and giving her a dominating run, but the inclusion of Nikki Cross in this match, it kind of was very distracting, and obviously that's why Candice lost the match. Then we had a video segment of Mustafa Ali backstage, and he's talking about how, you know, he's been hesitating towards his match with Gunther. He's been dreaming about being a champion. Normally he'd have something positive, just like a positive affirmation to make. Then Brock Lesnar walks through the shot, looks at him and says, "Get a life, kid," which I was like, cool, it's just Brock doing Brock things. Then he came into the ring and he quickly spoke and he said, you know, what do you want to talk about? Which is obviously what Cody normally says before a promo. And he said there'll be no Cody. Cody will not fight me at Night of Champions, and that I will not let you down. I'm issuing an open challenge to anybody who wants to fight me at Night of Champions. Then obviously there's a bit of silence and a bit of waiting. Cody Rhodes comes out to the ring and he's got a sling. So obviously he's come out from medical. He's come to answer the open challenge, and there's a brawl in the ring pretty much. Cody Rhodes gets locked in by Brock Lesnar into the Kimura lock on the injured arm, and Brock tries to tweak it a little bit more to injure Cody's arm further. Then we had a match between Alpha Academy and Viking Raiders. Now this match was really entertaining. The crowd really enjoyed it. The crowd was pretty much chanting for Otis most of the time, which was quite good. Otis came in the ring, got his moment. Everyone was really happy when he did the worm. I do think Chad Gable did a really, really, really good job winning this match. There was a lot of technical moves from him, and I really enjoyed it. Alpha Academy did come out with the win, though, which I think was the right call to make. Maxine Dupree was there during the match as well, too. So she was obviously valeting for Otis and Chad, and I think the inclusion of her was quite good. Then we had a quick Cody update again. As I said earlier, this is quite a Cody Rhodes focused episode, which, I mean, is totally fine. He's going up against Brock Lesnar. Makes sense. So Byron tries to get another update from Adam Pearce, and Adam Pearce is like, not now. Cody's really angry. He's really grumpy. The door slams. Cody starts like getting really angry, which is understandable. He's been injured like 5 days before his match. I would be upset too. Then we had the match between Shinsuke and Finn. This was a classic Shinsuke and Finn Balor match. I'm not too sure if they've fought on main roster before. I think they have. But it was a really, really good match. I really enjoyed it. The chemistry, like I said, within the ring was really good. And it was an all-around good match. Finn Balor did come away with the win, though, which I was like, I understand. You want to make Finn look good, but you also need to make Shinsuke look good on the Raw brand, considering he's just been drafted. But I digress. Still a really good match. You had a quick video package from Indus Sher. I didn't really pay much attention to this. It was kind of just Jinder Mahal talking. Then we had a match between Raquel Rodriguez and Sonya Deville. Obviously talking about how Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai are both injured, and how Liv and Raquel have had to relinquish the tag titles, and that there will be matches taking place to crown some new tag champions. The match was quite good. At the end, Raquel did come out with the win. Like I said earlier, it was quite a short match as well too. Chelsea Green tried to beat down on Raquel Rodriguez, and then Shotzi came out. So Shotzi came in for the save, which then set up that Shotzi was the new tag partner for Raquel Rodriguez, which I think is quite cool. I think Shotzi and Raquel have really good chemistry together inside and outside the ring. So I'm really hoping for Raquel's sake that if Shotzi's going to be her new tag partner, She doesn't have to relinquish the titles again due to somebody being injured, or at this point, you just need to put Raquel Rodriguez in singles competition. We had Adam Pearce backstage, and Cody, he was talking about Cody. He's obviously, upset with Cody, and Cody's upset with the entire situation. TRISH STRATUS comes into the picture quickly and is just trying to talk to Adam Pearce about the contract signing, and is basically just like, can we just have like a no-touch policy? Like, this is my first contract signing. I don't really know what to expect. Like, let's just do it like this. And Adam was like, that's okay. And then we had a quick video package about Riddle, just reminding people of Riddle and that, he's here. All right, contract signing. I'm just going to briefly talk about it. If you guys want to know what happened, please go watch the segment. I genuinely suggest that you do, because this contract signing was fire. I knew fully going into this match that I was going to enjoy it, mostly because it's Trish and Becky. I like Trish. I love Becky. But this contract signing, oh man, we haven't had one like this in such a long time. So Becky comes out to the ring and is basically just like, let's get this over with. Trish, come on, like, let's get this over with. And Trish is doing her heel things. She's basically talking about how she's the best and how she paved the way for a lot of people. And she basically said that she, became famous by herself rather than getting punched in the face by somebody. And when Becky took the glasses off, I could see the look in her eye, and I knew we were getting that same 2018 origin story of the man, because holy crap. I'm not going to go over everything she said in this promo, but she honestly, I could tell that she had drank piss and vinegar this morning, because she was on fire. She did not hold back. She was basically just talking about how she is it. She has done it. She is one of the best. And she said, thank you, Trish, for showing me what I don't want to be. And she's basically saying that, she thinks that Trish thinks that she's better than what she is. And people remember Trish for being better than what Trish was. And I was just like, oh my gosh, the passion in this promo, it genuinely reminded me of why I love Becky Lynch so much. And I feel like this was the motivation and the increase in her self-esteem that she needed, because I kind of feel like the man has kind of been lacking a little bit as of late, but this kicked it up to a whole new level. She was ripping Trish a new one, and she finished it by saying that she isn't going to bark. She basically was just referenced the barking like a dog situation, and then went woof woof, female dog. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it all because there's a lot to recap in that segment, but I genuinely think you should watch it, because oh my gosh, I was screaming at the TV the entire time. I was like, get her, Becky, get her, because this was just what I needed. And now I'm really excited for this match. I think the promo really helped. I always knew going into it that I think we just need some good promos from these two, and obviously there's history in it anyway, so the story writes itself. Then we had a video replay of the attack from Brock Lesnar onto Cody Rhodes. Then we had a quick little backstage segment to show that Adam Pearce is talking to somebody on the phone about Cody Rhodes and about his injury and about how he's in pain, and obviously he's not giving up and he's not letting it go. Then we had the match between Dom Mysterio and Apollo Crews. Now, I believe this is the first Apollo Crews match that he's had back on Raw since being called up again, which was quite cool to see. There were a lot of "We Want Mommy" chants because Rhea was ringside as well too. Dom Mysterio ended up winning the match. And then we had a backstage segment with Byron Saxton, Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez, basically affirming that Shotzi is the new tag partner for Raquel Rodriguez. Basically, they were talking about how they respect each other, so they're going to be tag partners. So I think that's quite cool. Then we had a quick video package about AJ Styles, about his history in WWE and about some of his accomplishments outside of WWE and how he obviously wants to be the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion. Then we had the part 4 of the Corey and Seth interview series, and he basically was just saying that, it's time for change and that he's always, he hasn't been pegged as being the guy. He said that wrestling and WWE has given me a lot in my life. It's given me a life beyond my dreams, and he wants to be the best that he can be. He's putting all of his chips into the situation and into this match this weekend, and he wants to be shown as being that guy. So I really think that they've done a really good job at actually hyping up the inaugural World Heavyweight Championship, giving it some level of importance again. And you've obviously got two contenders that are worthy of being the champion. So I just feel like either person could win at Night of Champions. I genuinely think I would love for it to be Seth, but I think if it was AJ, I feel like that would be alright. Then we had the main event, which was the 6-man tag with Imperium versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn and Riddle. Now, the way that I feel about this is if they knew it was going to be Riddle from the beginning, they shouldn't have given it like the mystery partner, mystery tag team name, because that kind of opened it up for interpretation. Now, I know people were saying it could have been Drew McIntyre, but clearly not. This was quite a good match. I thought there was going to be some more interference during this match from other people, but there wasn't. Giovanni Vinci ended up taking the pin, and Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn and Riddle ended up winning, so it was Kevin Owens that won the match for the team. Then, something more exciting, we're talking about Money in the Bank now. There's going to be qualifying matches for the men's and the women's Money in the Bank ladder match starting next week, which I really appreciate that they're doing this again. It's giving the Money in the Bank final contest, for the actual Money in the Bank. It's giving it some level of importance, and it's giving it the opportunity to show the talent that's actually made it into this match. So I'm really excited for this. Then, just before we thought this was over, we see Cody Rhodes backstage, and who comes into the frame other than Triple H? So this is kind of like a father-son sit-down conversation about, Cody's arm and about how he's injured. Triple H is trying to say, look, you need medical attention. You really need doctors. Cody says he doesn't want any doctors. And Triple H is basically trying to say, like, you already know it's broken and you're afraid that it's broken. You don't want the doctors to tell you that it's broken because then it means you won't be able to compete this weekend. And then Cody gets all fired up and he's saying, I'm afraid. What do I have to be afraid about? And, he basically just says, he's trying to like reaffirm Triple H, and he asks, what would you do in this situation? How would you deal with it? And it kind of leaves it on a bit of a cliffhanger as into what Cody's going to do and if Cody's going to be cleared for Night of Champions for his fight with Brock Lesnar. I don't know. Like I said, this was quite a Cody-focused episode, which I totally get that. We're setting it up for Night of Champions to see if Cody's actually going to compete against Brock. I don't know. I feel like the inclusion of Triple H at the end really, really helped. Obviously, because Triple H and Cody, they kind of have that father-son dynamic going on. So, yeah, it was very interesting to see. All in all, it was a really good episode of Raw. Lots of stuff happening towards Night of Champions and lots of stuff furthering storylines, and obviously lots of stuff furthering the women's tag team scene and also Money in the Bank. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, please make sure that you like, comment and subscribe to the channel. We obviously post recaps for Monday Night Raw, NXT and for Friday Night SmackDown, and we will be posting a podcast this week with our Night of Champions predictions. Now this will be myself, Ross, G, Lauren. Reese unfortunately won't be on the podcast this week, but we have a guest, Jasmine. If you know her from TikTok, she will be joining us for the podcast this week, where we're going to go through our Night of Champions predictions, talk about the card, all things to do with Night of Champions. So yeah, if you like this, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We would really appreciate your love and support, as we put a lot of time and a lot of effort into what we do because we love wrestling and we want to show you our passion. Make sure you like the video, you comment, you share this to your friends. Let everyone know about OutCastedOC and about the hard work that we're putting in and our love for wrestling. So yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye guys.